Fish Baby Daddy here. I want to show you what I did with one of the planted tanks I have. I actually got a little CO2, a little carbon dioxide actually I'm putting into the tank to help accelerate the growth of plants. And just want to show you how I broke that down and how I did it. So CO2, here we go. Okay, so here's the tank I got. Pumping some CO2 in here, and I just want to show you how I kind of laid it out and how I did it. I haven't done CO2 in probably over 12 years. So it was a little bit of a learning curve, but I was able to get back to it pretty quickly. Plants are looking a little rough right now, but I think that over time you're going to see that you're going to see some good improvements with the plant growth. Because carbon dioxide, if you properly dose it, it's going to be great for the plants, and I think the fish are going to be perfectly fine with it. So I want to show you this a little bit right here. This is actually a CO2 indicator. If it's green, then you know you got the right levels of CO2 actually going into the tank. If it's blue, it's not enough. And if it turns yellow, you got way too much. And so you can see here I got a little bit of bubbles coming out of there, and it's just diffusing. I want those bubbles to be nice and small so the diffusion rate actually gets as much of that CO2 into the tank as possible. And then right here to the left, you can actually see a little bit of a bubble counter. Roughly about 1 second. Every bubble per second, that's what I want to try to shoot for. If a little over, a little under, I'm okay with. And then you can see that actually feeds into the actual tank. And so that bubble counter, and that actually filters down. And then what I have is I have a little bit of a check valve here just to make sure nothing backflows. And this is the actual CO2 system itself. I had this system for a long time in my dad's basement, was able to pull it out when I moved to North Carolina. And I got a little CO2 cylinder here. And hopefully this lasts for a little bit. Had to make some adjustments and had some gas leaking initially. It made sure that the fitting was on properly. And so, you know, this should take, I should be able to have enough CO2 in this thing for, you know, a good amount of time for a couple of months. But I had a little bit of leak, so if I have to go back to air gas and get another refill, that's no big deal. But I just want to kind of see the layout here. Pretty simple in terms of just getting the solenoid and everything put in there. And then what I do is I actually put the light that's on a timer. It's actually timed up with the actual CO2. And this kind of happened on accident, but I'm kind of happy it did. What I want to do is that you actually want the CO2 to actually shut off before the lights actually go out. And so I like doing that because at least, you know, there's not a huge lapse of like CO2 still going into the tank. So the CO2 will shut off, and then what will happen is that the next day the lights actually kick on before the CO2 actually kicks on, which is really nice. I want to do that, so it worked out pretty good with the timing. Layout is overall pretty simple. I think the big keys are when you're actually getting a CO2 system, that you have something that's decent, that's not leaking in terms of like the solenoid and the pressure and all that. And what I do is I just turn this valve right here, and I'm going to turn that valve. It actually gives me an indicator of how much CO2 is actually going in the tank from the bubble counter. So like I said, bubble counter, you want to go roughly about 1 second. So 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002. That gives me kind of a rough idea. Okay, it's about roughly a second that's going into the tank. Those bubbles are going in, but they're not going in extra crazy. And hopefully what we can do is make sure that CO2 is actually going in there as much as possible. I'm a huge fan of CO2 in the fact that it can kind of help with plant growth and kind of offset algae a little bit. Now you can see there's a little bit of algae in there right now, but I can easily take a lot of that off. And I think the plants will kind of take over a little bit. I got some of that floating wisteria right here. That's going to take off also with the CO2. And over time, what I'll do is I'll probably actually take some of this egg crate that's off here. It's diffusing some of that light because I was getting a little bit of algae. And we'll just see how this plant actually grows. I would love to get some of this moss on this wood to actually take off and make it like a nice mossy wood. That would be really nice. But we'll see how it goes. I like how the layout is. I got 2 fish in here there for breeding. Those Nanocara anomala. And that male was in here. He was hiding. I was able to find him earlier, but I just kind of let him be a little bit. You know, I don't want to get too much into like hunting him down or anything like that. But there's the male right there. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Oh, he's coming out for the camera. Look at him. Oh, wow. He never really does this for me. But he's doing it for the camera. Maybe if I pull back a little bit, it'll come back out. Come on, buddy, come on. Oh, he's like showing off here a little bit. He's like, oh, I'm on the camera. Oh, yeah. And then he hears me talking, and then he takes off. Oh, jeez. Well, anyway, that's the male. I got a female in here, and I got a super red pleco in here, too. They're in there. They're swimming around. They're all nestled in there. Don't want to bother them too much. But I, overall, just wanted to give you the quick layout. Really, I think the keys are your bubble counter on the side and your CO2 indicator actually telling you, you know, if it's green, good, blue, not enough, and yellow, you have too much CO2. So, keys is you want to make sure that timer actually comes off before the lights go out, and then you can kind of get that CO2 going a little bit after the light actually kicks on. So, it's a little bit of timing with some of the timers and stuff, but overall, once you get it set up, you're kind of good to go until you run out of CO2, and then you just gotta refit everything and make sure that all the fittings are good. My big mistake is that when I was doing this, I was actually looking at it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make some adjustments and kind of turn this valve a little bit right here at the bottom. I'm like, I'm gonna turn this valve a little bit when everything was off. And that was a huge mistake, because the next morning or the next afternoon when this all came on, it was all that CO2 was like fizzing in there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got too much CO2 in there. And then, you know, obviously too much CO2 means that your fish can't breathe, and my fish were like really struggling. I thought they weren't going to make it, so I was able to do some water changes and be able to break the surface a little bit, keep that filter going, and it got some more oxygen in there. And luckily, crisis avoided. Everything's working real well, and this is only a couple days into it. I'd like to probably do it before and after and maybe do another video in the next couple months, so you can kind of compare this video to that video and see what kind of growth we got. Most of this is Anubias, got some wisteria in here, got some moss, and just see how it plays out. I'll definitely get some of this algae out that's actually growing, but I think overall, got a little bit of layout here with some CO2. We'll see if we can get some breeding in here too with the fish. Well, there you got it for a little CO2 action. Just want to show you what I'm doing with the plants and see how it coincides with the fish. And until next time, fish baby daddy.